in that? How do you transcend this sense of separation? And when you're in a space of oneness, you're in the space of love. Like that's what love is. You know, what is love? Love is the transcending of separation, division. And when there's separation, when there's division, that's when there's the space for fear, that's when there's the space for hatred, that's when there's the space for worry and anxiety and all these things, because there's all these other things. It's such a scary world, right? There's so many different things, you know? But what's really amazing is the more you delve into the nature of existence, it's a big phrase. When you delve into the nature of existence, and this is like aligns with all the different teachings historically, is, sorry to put it so like directly, but we're going to go deep because we don't have that much time. All right, we got to get right into it. There's no thing. There's nothing. There's nothing. You can't find anything. You know, the more you delve into yourself, where am I? I can't find myself. You know, and then because what's solid? You know, your thoughts are always changing. Your feelings are definitely always changing. Your experience are always changing. Your physical body, what's seen as the physical body, is always changing. In fact, it's not even going to be here soon. You know, the space around you is always changing. Even this chair, on a molecular level, is always changing. You know, so everything that's a thing is always changing. There's this phrase, the only constant is change. You know, the only constant is change. So everything is changing all the time. So there's no thing that is unchanging. So to say there's no thing that's unchanging is like a two-tiered statement. So it means there's no thing that's, and this is the deeper level, no thing, nothing is unchanging. And that's the part that we lose awareness of. We forget because the world is so, you get so enamored. It's so interesting, so many different things to like grab onto, and so many fascinating things, and we just get lost in the world of things and forget the simple truth that no thing, nothing is unchanging. And this is when people use words like spirit. You know, spirit. You know, spirit is unchanging. Soul. These kind of words. You know, obviously they can be used different ways by different people, but some people have used these words to point God. You know, to point to this essence which is unchanging, which is not a form. You know, because anything that has a form has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we're just gonna, not only is it gonna change, but it's not gonna be here anymore. You know, so why are we attaching ourselves to things that don't provide us any real security? You know, the hurricane thing was really interesting. You know, the fact that people could, I guess, you know, some people did lose their house and their car and, you know, all their material possessions, just, you know, out of nowhere. Stuff that people have like saved up their whole life to try to accumulate and try to gather, and all of a sudden it's just gone in a moment. And it's kind of a good reminder that, like, well, that's true for all of us, anytime. You know, and we're so materialistic still in this culture that we're so focused on material things, you know, and trying to prove we have more than this person. Look what I have, and what you have, and look at my car, you know, all this stuff. And like, when you get into like what's really important, it's sure not that. Like, that's definitely not what's important. You know, on a worldly level, you know, what's important is family and friendship and community, you know, each other. That's why it feels like so valuable to come into spaces like this. come into spaces where we come together in community. And it doesn't necessarily matter how well we know each other. You know, maybe we're meeting for the first time, maybe we've seen each other many times, maybe we know each other for years, but what's most important is to come together in a space of presence, to be fully present together. And you can know somebody for a long time and not be present together. In fact, in some cases it's harder. You know, people with their mother, with their father, or, you know, family members, it can be more difficult to be really present together. And sometimes it's easier with people that we don't feel like we know, you know, to be present together. But this field of presence is what's most essential, and it's what creates this space of the feeling of love, you know, the feeling of connection, the feeling of communion, the feeling of being together. You know, one of the things that I say a lot is there's something so valuable about just being together. When I say being together, I mean like really being together, and really resting in the sense of being, like where the being is enough. You know, can you like maybe think of a moment in your life where you're with somebody, or you're with someone or someone's, and just being together, like, oh, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to go anywhere. Where do you want to go? Who cares? Like, just being together is enough. Like that feeling, you know? And that comes from being present together. And we can be present together anytime. We can be present together anytime. Or, said a different way, we can only be present together this time. We can only be present together now. We can only ever be present together now. So, good news is, like, this is always the opportunity. And you can be present with whatever is in front of you. You know, it's an unconditional relationship with the moment. So you can be present with whatever's in front of you, with whatever is here. You don't have to wait till, oh, well, if the conditions are right, or if, you know, this particular whatever person or thing or
solar planet.
Yeah, the solar, exactly. Good one, Kathy. The solar eclipse. You can be present with sadness if it's present. You can be present with happiness if it's present. Be present with fear if it's present. You can be present with joy if it's present. You can be present with uncomfortability if it's present. You can be present with whatever's here. There's an opportunity to be present. And in the space of presence, there's a rising of what we could call intimacy, you know, which comes from authenticity, being authentic in the moment. One thing that's really interesting, that's worth noting, and I've been wanting to make this point to people that we get in this space with, is that there's these kind of two poles, right? There's like pain and pleasure, and there's suffering, and there's ecstasy, right? There's these kind of two poles. And what I've found in like talking with so many people, and working with so many people, and retreats and personal sessions and conversations and all these different cross-section of people from so many different realms, is that people are actually more afraid of ecstasy than they are of suffering. How amazing is that? People are actually more afraid of ecstasy than they are of suffering. At first, it seems kind of crazy, right? But then you look deeper at it, into it, and it actually makes perfect sense. So that's why we have so little of it. We have a lot of suffering because we're comfortable. Oh, this is like the, I'm used to this. This is the kind of the comfort zone, Oh, these people, I feel comfortable with them. Because, like, imagine if there was some, like, super ecstatic person just, like, walking down the street in Atlanta, they would probably be put in jail,
Oh, yeah.
pretty quickly, I remember one time I was in Italy with a friend. We were in the train station, and we had some kind of long layover. We were waiting for the next train, so we had like a few hours to be there. We were having the best time, like, I had my shoes off, and she was like doing yoga poses, and I don't know, it's all kind of like, just, I think I had my guitar or something, and this guy comes over with his uniform, and very serious look on his face, and I don't speak Italian, right? He's like, So I'm like, okay, I guess we're being too happy. We have to stop. I didn't know what he was saying, but it seemed like he was saying you're being too happy. So you're disrupting the order here. But yeah, there's that sense of like ecstatic energy, or this dissolving of the self that John's pointing about. It feels like a loss of control. And we're afraid of losing control. But why are we afraid of losing control? And who's in control anyway? Who's really in control? And what's going to happen if we lose control? There's this kind of like tightness of like to stay in control. There was a guy at the last retreat that we did, John and I. And it was a really fun retreat. A lot of laughter. And this gentleman was like, really, kind of tight, energetically, physically. He was tight. He would say, I don't want to lose control. Because if I lose control, I don't know what's going to happen. He kept saying, I don't want to lose control. Lose control on what's going to happen. So we were doing some different exercises, and he was present, but not wanting to fully participate because he didn't want to lose control. So then we did this toning exercise. It's interesting, because the toning thing is because it's nonverbal. So words are always thinking, conceptualizing, looking at ourselves, looking at other people, judgments, all this stuff. But this is nonverbal. So you're accessing this like deeper, like innate part of yourself. So we're doing the toning exercise. The lights are really low; they're out essentially. Everybody's toning. He's not toning. He's just quiet. And I came up to him, and I was like toning like right in his face. It just kind of occurred to me to do this. And all of a sudden, he breaks out laughing with the loudest laugh. And he just laughed, and then he couldn't stop laughing. He was just laughing and laughing and laughing, maybe for like 10 minutes. He was just laughing. He's like, you did it. You made me lose control. You made me lose control. You did it.
He was so excited. He made him lose control. Yeah.
Brian gets me, man. He just gets me. It's awesome.
You made me lose control, right? So, yeah. What's this thing about wanting to be in control?
Is that why drugs and alcohol and things like that? Because you lose control.
Right. Right. Now it gets us to an interesting place. So there's sort of an unconscious losing of control, and there's a conscious losing of control. So one of the things that's really interesting is like and I think we're going to be delving a lot more into this, is started this conversation with John about channeling. So he's been accessing more just channeling energy and things coming through him. And in conversation with him, it's like, essentially, that's what happens with me too. It's essentially a channeling, right? And we're noticing other people, it's kind of this field that opens and other people access it. So what you're really channeling is yourself. You know, you're channeling this higher energy of yourself, this higher essence, this higher intelligence. These are just words, right, of yourself. So what's required to channel your genius, to channel this higher energy of yourself? What's required? It's a question for anyone.
Letting go.
Yeah. And you can say it a different way.
Stepping aside.
Yeah. All those things are right. Losing control. Losing control. You can't channel this, you lose control. You know? And so you're not going down into like this unconscious, you're actually, in a sense, going up, right, to a higher conscious. So the losing control is allowing something. It's kind of like when you're, I think this is like a Zen saying, when your cup is full, nothing new can enter it, right? But if you empty your cup, then you become a clear channel for this energy to move through you. So really, like every spiritual teaching in its highest form is really just about that. It's all it comes down to. You don't have to know all the dogma, all the different commandments, and all these things are just really, from my view, distractions to this core truth, which is becoming empty, which you are empty. You are nothing. So it's not that hard to do. It's just recognizing what you already are. Remember, no effort. Don't make any effort. Effort is the wrong direction, right? It's just recognizing, looking at what's here, looking at what's true, looking at what you really are. So you are empty, and then when you're empty, then now this other thing is coming through. You know, all of a sudden I'm saying like wise words, you know, where are they coming from? I don't know where they're coming from. I've lost control. I've lost control, and now these wise words are coming through, you know. Now I can think this higher level of creativity, you know. Creativity is so much of where it is. What we could call God, I would define as the universal creative intelligence. So people who are artists are, of course, creative people. And maybe you can be creative with a guitar or with a drum or with a paintbrush, you know, or with a camera. Can you expand that out, that your life is a work of art, right? That you're just open for this creative energy to flow through you each moment. All the aspects of your life throughout the day, everything from the more mundane to the more expansive elements, that you are an open, clear channel for spirit, source, its intelligence to move through you, right?